Joe Biden's pathological disdain for Black America has been clear and present since the very beginning of his political career, which began in 1973 when he was sworn in as Senator of Delaware. No more than 2 years later, in 1975, Joe Biden's disdain for Black America became obvious as he openly denied the very clear and present oppression of Black Americans by the system of racism and white supremacy, stating that these things had nothing to do with why Black Americans are so far behind white Americans in every aspect of society. In that same interview, which was recorded in a Delaware-based weekly newspaper called The People, Biden became defensive and hostile as he used expletives while vehemently opposing the idea of issuing reparations to the descendants of American slavery. Mr. Biden told the People paper, a Delaware-based weekly newspaper, in 1975, "I do not buy the concept, popular in the 60s, which said, 'We have suppressed the black man for 300 years, and the white man is now far ahead in the race for everything our society offers. In order to even the score, we must give the black man a head start, or even hold the white man back to even the race.' I don't buy that. I don't feel responsible for the sins of my father and grandfather. I feel responsible for what the situation is today, for the sins of my own generation. And I'll be damned if I feel responsible to pay for what happened 300 years ago." Now, for what it's worth, 300 years had not passed by that portion in time. There's always this need by those of the dominant society to add extra centuries onto something to make it seem like these things were a long time ago. When in fact, by the time that Joe Biden actually recorded that interview in 1975, the last living slave in America had died in 1971. Yet he's talking about slavery as if it was 3,000 years ago. Now, I'm not going to go on a tangent about this because I did that already in a previous video titled, "Joe Biden Dismisses Reparations Again, So Why Are You Voting for Him?" If you wish to watch that video, I'll leave the link in the description below, as well as at the end of this video. Now let's carry on, because from that point on, Biden would go on to spend the next 36 years in the Senate authoring anti-black racist crime bills that would go on to grossly incarcerate black men at an absurdly disproportionate rate compared to white men. And this was something that he was actually very proud of.
I hope this crime bill, when it passes, the Biden-Hatch crime bill, as it becomes law, God willing, I hope that we will have ended, once and for all, this notion that is a hangover from the 60s, that somehow Democrats are weak on crime and Democratic presidents are weak on crime and Republicans are tough on crime. The truth is, every major crime bill since 1976 that's come out of this Congress, every minor crime bill has had the name of the Democratic senator from the state of Delaware, Joe Biden, on that bill.
He even bragged about how harsh his crime bills were, so much so that he boasted that his crime bills did everything but lynch people for jaywalking.
Let me tell you what is in the bill, and I'll let you all decide whether or not this is weak. Let me get down here a compendium of the things that are in the bill. One, the death penalty. It provides 53 death penalty offenses. Weak as can be, you know? We do everything but hang people for jaywalking in this bill. That's weak stuff.
Now fast forward to his presidential campaign, and you'll see that any time he was asked about reparations for the descendants of American slavery, he would undermine it at every turn and opportunity, like when he attempted to include Native Americans in reparations that are owed to the descendants of American slavery.
I know you've said before that you want to see studies, that you weren't necessarily ready to say you were for reparations, but you'd be willing to at least look at studies. There are a lot of people who suggested that these studies have been going on for a mighty long time, and why not say now whether you would be for reparations or not?
I know it has to be done now, and you know it too. Let's not wait. Let's do the study and decide whether there should be direct cash payment. But in the meantime, you know it has to be done.
We can find that on Biden.com, but I'm not sure what your answer is to the reparations question.
If in fact there are ways in which to get direct payments for reparations, I want to see it. But why are we waiting around for the study? We can deal with
Well,
the
they're not
study.
mutually exclusive. You don't have to wait
No,
around
they're
for the
not
study. That's my
exclusive.
point.
No, but they look. They're not mutually exclusive. But I can't believe that whatever it is, the African American community would not support what I'm talking about. In addition to
Well,
if there are
again, I don't
reparations.
think we have to. Let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this so we can move on because we've got to get some phone calls in as well. But let me ask you this then. If in fact a calculation comes to you that you are satisfied with, would you then say, I'm for reparations?
The answer is it would depend on what it was and will it include Native Americans as well.
And if you're a longtime subscriber to this channel, you already know what video is coming up next. But in case you're new to this channel and to this information, here's where Joe Biden literally told you he was going to give your reparations to the Hispanic community.
Vice President Biden, do you support reparations?
Look, let me, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of every 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America, and we should invest in them. Everybody will benefit from it, every single American, and you should get used to it. This is a nation of immigrants. That's who we are. That's why we're who we are. That's what makes us different, and we should invest in them.
Thank you, Mr. Biden. Senator Klobuchar, you had your hand up.
Now, in the face of all this, you might be asking yourself, why does Joe Biden have such a strong disdain for Black America? And in my humble opinion, that reason is because it's literally in his blood concerning his family lineage. You see, it's recently been discovered that Joe Biden comes from a family of slave owners on his father's side. A genealogist who conducted a sweeping look into President Biden's lineage says records show some of the Scranton, Pennsylvania natives' ancestors on his father's side own enslaved people. Alexander Bannerman, who along with presidential lineage expert Gary Boyd Roberts, co-authored an article on Biden's ancestry for the winter 2021 issue of the New England Historic Genealogical Society's American Ancestor magazine, told Politico that he came across the findings while looking through census records and slave schedules from Maryland. According to Bannerman, the 1800 census showed that Biden's great-great-great-grandfather, Jesse Robinette, owned 2 enslaved people in Allegheny County, and another great-great-grandfather, Thomas Randall, enslaved a 14-year-old boy in Baltimore County. The researcher also told Politico that Randall and his family moved elsewhere in Baltimore County in 1860, at which point they owned a single male slave according to the census records. Now you see, this is why Biden has always highlighted his mother's side of the family, who is Irish. If you didn't know any better, you would have thought that Joe was 100% Irish, the way he sells that talking point concerning his family's lineage. But you have to understand that that's strategic to hide his family's slave-owning past. But now what I really want you to pay attention to is how the dominant society stays on code after uncovering this information. Politico noted that Bannerman and Roberts do not include ancestral ties to slavery in their academic article, with the authors arguing that it is fairly common for Americans with colonial-era roots to have enslaved people connected to their family's history. Bannerman argued that Biden's ties to slavery are not nearly as strong as many other American families. Not a lot of ancestors and not a lot of slaves, he told Politico. Now, some of you might be saying to yourself, if they were on code, then the original Politico article would not have come out, nor would the article from The Hill. But here's what you have to understand. These articles by The Hill and Politico, they come and go by the next breaking news story that's right around the corner. You see, by the time I upload this video, those articles will have already been drowned out by other news and completely forgotten about. But where being on code comes into play is the fact that they are leaving this information out of the official academic article. The academic article is the one that your child will reference to when he's writing his school essay on Joe Biden. So in omitting that part of Biden's family history from the official academic article, you have effectively rewritten history to which the country will never know this about Biden's lineage. The same way it was hidden from you that Barack Obama's family owned slaves on his mother's side. Now that was hidden until Mitch McConnell blew the spot up.
Were you aware that your great-great-grandfathers were slave owners in Alabama before the Civil War, and has that revelation caused you to change your position on reparations?
You know, I find myself once again in the same position as President Obama. We both oppose reparations, and we both are the descendants of slaveholders.
Now really take a moment to think about this for a second. The last two Democratic presidents that Black America overwhelmingly voted for were descendants of slave owners. That's wild when you think about it, isn't it? Now, for those of you who have listened to this video all the way up until this point, I want to really know your opinion. I want you to tell me, what do you think is going to take for Black America to finally wake up? Because as I'm sitting and recording this video, with the exception of the realization that Joe Biden comes from a family of slave owners, none of this information that I'm revealing to you is new. It's been out there for quite some time now, and I've covered all of this stuff before. Nonetheless, Black Americans came out en masse to vote for this man. So I want you to tell me in the comment section, what do you think it's actually going to take for us to snap out of this brainwashed delusion that we're in with the Democratic Party? I'm really looking forward to what you guys have to say on this matter, because this is beyond out of hand at this point. So let me know what you think. And with all that being said, that does it for today's video. So please make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. All social media links will be pinned in the comment section below. If you haven't already, please make sure you text tdhiphop to number 33222. That's tdhiphop to number 33222. That way you'll get a direct text notification whenever I release a new video, but it also serves as a protection plan for myself in case YouTube ever gives this channel the axe. I'll be able to send you a direct link to where you can find me next. And for those of you who have a love and appreciation for the work that I put in on this channel, the #1 way you can show your support is through Patreon. For only $3 a month, that will help put me in position to be able to take TD Hip Hop Media off of YouTube. Remember, the goal is not to grow big on YouTube, but to grow independent of YouTube. And lastly, if you haven't already, please make sure you join the emailing list. There is no way that I can go independent of YouTube if I cannot take the audience with me. The link for the emailing list will be pinned in the comment section below as well. Thank you for your time, and until the next video, peace.